Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. I've always maintained that to join the SNP, you really have to be pretty joyless. You don't like the idea of other people having fun, having an evening of joy, having a smile on their face. Don't want them to spend good quality time with friends, especially not if there's any booze involved. We know that the SNP are rather prohibitionist and puritanical in their approach to alcohol, which is why they're doing their very, very best to make Scotland a dry state. They want to keep increasing the price of alcohol till it's unaffordable. And they want to keep making it much more socially unacceptable to do, because in their warped kind of view, alcohol is evil. It's the sins of the devil. It's, and all this sort of thing. It's a very strange view to take, considering one of Scotland's major exporters is the good stuff. So we'll take a look at this, because it isn't just me saying this, it's other people have noticed as well. There seems to be this anti-alcohol culture, presumably, of course, because there's not enough booze in Scotland to make any man find Nicola Sturgeon attractive. Let's have a look and see if that is the reason. It's probably not. But anyway, here goes. So, Nicola Sturgeon and her SNP are driven by a draconian anti-alcohol agenda that is killing Scotland's pubs. This is the claim. But of course, it is a problem. They don't like alcohol. They don't like people drinking. They don't want it to happen, because going to the pub and having a good time with your friends means people enjoy themselves, have a smile. They can talk openly and freely. And she doesn't want people talking openly and freely, because they may be talking about her and saying the most awful things. Well, tough. The SNP's refusal to pass on rates relief for the Scottish hospitality industry is just the latest example of a war on pubs and the ideological crackdown on Scotland's once thriving culture of social drinking. Now, the UK government, Westminster government, gave them millions upon millions of pounds. They were to use this to pay 75% of business rates for the hospitality industry. It was given explicitly for that. And rather than doing that, they kept the money and did not give the hospitality industry any money, because they don't want a hospitality industry, because that might mean booze and people enjoying themselves. And these puritanical killjoys don't like that idea. If they could ban Christmas, they would. It's going back to the era of Cromwell with this lot. The Scottish Government is on an ideological crusade to stop people drinking alcohol and to destroy the traditional Scottish pub culture, according to one leading figure in the hospitality industry. Justin Wingate points to a number of draconian policies over the years, most recently the failure to pass on rates relief. Plus, of course, you've got the minimum pricing now of alcohol, which has just had a 30% increase, and the plans to bring back in times for pubs. So they want to reintroduce. There's plans to reintroduce pub closing times mid-afternoon, so people just can't walk in and just drink all day. It's as though they want to interfere and micromanage everything, and in doing so, weirdly, they've seen a massive increase because of this policy, a massive increase in the number of alcohol deaths. And so they say, oh, well, we've got to cure the alcohol deaths, so let's put the prices up even more, driving people away from drink and onto other substances, illegal substances. And now Scotland is Europe's capital, the illegal substance death capital of Europe kind of thing. It's because they can't afford a pint, can't afford a couple, bottle of scotch, can't afford a couple of bottles of wine or whatever. So they go up the road and they get whatever comes in small packets. And then they overdose on that, because people need to escape. They need to escape the hell on earth that Scotland's become under the 17 years of SNP rule. Anyway, the war on pubs can be traced back to the early days of the SNP administration, and it was turbocharged after Nicola Sturgeon, along with a cabal of aides and advisors seen as the fun police, came to power at the end of 2014. She's since described the introduction of minimum unit pricing as one of her proudest achievements. So that proud achievement has actually increased child poverty, resulted in more alcohol deaths, has not done what it's intended to do, and has made life way, way worse for everyone. So yeah, I can understand why she's proud of it. It's achieving what she wants. Poverty and misery for all. Other policies include bans on happy hours, discount alcohol promotions, and drinking on trains. The failed DRS, the refusal to consider reversing the ban on alcohol at football matches, repeated public health warnings, low emission zones in Glasgow, which affect footfall through town centres and thus drive businesses to the wall, not just to Glasgow, other cities, and more recently, the refusal to pass on the 75% rates relief offered south of the border. When these businesses go boom, which they will, and all the staff are let go, and the unemployment rate in Scotland increases and there's no one there to employ them, and when tourism fails, because, you know, who's going to go and, oh, it's a bit dry up there, why would you go? And tourism's gone. And that's another industry, another sector that's gone. And especially as they're attacking that by putting all the licensing onto short-term lets. Not because there's a need for licensing, it's just that if they have licensing, they can charge for it. And it's a bit of a mafia style, you know, nice business you got there. Shame if anything happened to it. Protection racket. Give us your money or else. And so the whole of the Scottish tourism industry dies. That's more people unemployed, less money coming into the country. And so what happens? More misery, more poverty, and eventually you have a scorched earth policy. And that's always been the plan. So they can say, look how terrible Scotland is, and it's all the fault of Westminster. Vote for us and we'll make it better. But it was them who made it like that. So no, they're not only are they not going to make it better, they will only ever make it far, far worse. And she just wanted that power to become Queen Nick. Mr. Wingate, the publisher and managing director of industry magazine On Trade Scotland, said a majority of people in hospitality share his view. He said there's a draconian anti-alcohol agenda from the Scottish government. People in positions of power are allowing their personal beliefs and their religious beliefs to overpower the economy. This has been going on for a long period of time, from minimum pricing to the DRS bill. Nicola Sturgeon said tackling Scotland's drinking culture will be her biggest legacy. Oh, what a shame, Nick. It isn't, is it? It's not your biggest legacy now, is it? It's the lying. It's the corruption. It's the potential death of 4,500 people. And your biggest legacy should end up with everyone immediately thinking of you and just thinking of life imprisonment for potentially a mass murderer. That will be your legacy, love. Anyway, he added, these views are reflected massively across the industry. Before the pandemic, a lot of the industry was fearful of speaking out or raising questions. They were scared of repercussions. Now it's a case of the gloves are off. There's too many jobs and livelihoods that have been lost, and it's becoming obvious it's an ideological issue. It's deliberate. It is absolutely deliberate. They are destroying the entire industry. It's always been their plan. Of course, Humza Yousaf's going away with it, because if he can have a little dry Scotland with no alcohol, that'll suit him fine for all the new Scots he'd like to bring in. Anyway, in 2008, when Miss Sturgeon was Health Secretary, she vowed to change Scotland's relationship with alcohol. Said we can no longer afford to view alcohol misuse simply as an individual choice. But here's the thing, it is. 99.9% of people who drink alcohol don't have a problem with it. It's the tiny, tiny 1 in 1,000 that do. But you want to punish everyone, pretending it's for the good of the 0.1%, but it isn't. It's because you have an anti-alcohol drive, your personal beliefs. Do you know, the thing is, love, if you'd have sat at college when you were young and sort of, you know, had a few more, loosened up, maybe you wouldn't have turned out to be a sociopathic, hate-filled... Can't say the word, but you know what I mean. Anyway, in a first attempt to introduce minimum unit pricing was shot down by opposition parties, but after the SNP won a majority in 2011, Sturgeon said the crackdown on cheap booze would be a top priority, although it was further delayed by a lengthy legal battle with the whisky industry. Wingate said the COVID-19 pandemic confirmed what many in hospitality had long suspected, with licensed premises subject to lengthy closures and ridiculous rules when they were allowed to open, such as the ban on music or the confusion over vertical drinking. Yeah, you can't have music, because the music attracts the virus or something. It was none of that. It was, let's make these places unedifying and nobody wants to go there. I'm not going to go through the rest of it, but it's there. She absolutely hates the idea of people having a good time. And look at her posing. Look at me, I'm in a pub. I go to the pub all the time. I love pub culture. No, you don't. You hate joy. That's what it is. She's an empty, soulless vacuum. She is a shard, isn't she? A little shard. There's nothing inside her. Coming up. Of course, what's truly amusing is a lot of the SNP voters, they're exactly the sort of people who do like a wee drink. They do like to go off and, and they sit in there and they go, oh, and the price has gone up terrible, and it's gone up terrible. Let's blame Westminster. Not Westminster. It's cheap booze in Britain, mate. Cheap booze south of the border. It's not Westminster putting it up. When you're sitting there, your average SNP supporter, in the gutter, bottle of Buckfast, and he's complaining that Buckfast is £12.50 a bottle now. Who have you got to blame? Well, you blame yourself. You keep voting for these people. You keep voting for people who hate your lifestyle. And you seem to think that if you keep voting for them, one day they'll come around and see that, drinking will be fun. It won't. You'll never drink again. They're turning it into a dry state. But hey, keep going, boys. One day you'll wake up, smell the coffee and think, could do with a wee bit of rum in that. But you won't be able to afford it. Anyway, stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye.